Hi everyone, my name is Christine and the title of this series is Twin Flames and Entity Attachments. There's a couple of reasons why I'm doing this video series. First of all, before I went through this story that I'm about to tell you, I had never heard of the concept of a twin flame before. I had never heard of the concept of entity attachments before. I had heard of the concept of possession, and I was raised in the Roman Catholic Church, so I grew up thinking that I understood the idea of what possession is. However, after going through this story, I have a totally different idea of what possession actually is and how it affects not only me, but you on an everyday level. And so after I went through this situation, I'll call it, I realized that I had to speak about it for a couple of reasons. One, I would not have sought out information on these topics because I didn't believe that it affected me. I was too busy working, I was too busy with my everyday life, much like all of us, to even think that these things affected me on a daily basis. And not only affected me, they affect all of us. And so what happened was, throughout my life, I was actually on a football field, playing a football game, and not realizing it. And rather than being padded up and protected, I didn't know I was on the field. I was just walking around and I would get hit, boom. And I'd be like, wow, that was a really hard hit, going through something really difficult in life. Okay, let me get back up, and boom, I get hit again. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. I mean, my life was constantly jumping hurdles, very serious hurdles, and I didn't understand why until this situation happened to me. After the situation happened, it took me a little bit to recover. And when I wanted to talk about this, I wanted to talk about it to help you. Because anyone that has gone through this or something similar, it's very hard to find people to help you. Your people in everyday life probably are not going to understand, and yet at the same time, this is happening globally, I assure you. And so for that reason, I wanted to speak out. And I had to get to the point where the person who entered my life, who acted as a catalyst, that I wished him well. And I'm at that point now that I wish this person well, that I got back to neutrality, because there was a long time, not a real long time, but long enough where I was really angry. And it took me a little while to understand my role in the situation as well as his. So I want to send a shout out to Risa Tisa, who gave me the idea for the format of this series. If you haven't watched her series, Who the F Did I Marry? I highly recommend it. I will link it in the notes below so that you can go watch her 52-part series. She is a master storyteller. And I learned so much just by listening to her story. By the time I listened to her story, I had already been through this and had been contemplating doing my own series. The other reason I'm doing this series is I would have not sought out this information previous to this happening to me because I had no idea that situations like this even existed. And so for the people that are going through this now, or that have been through it and are still shaken by it, I can assure you that you can get through it and you can recover and you can take that information that you have learned and apply it to your life. I'm going to be honest with you. This is one of the most challenging things I ever went through, and I have been through some very serious things in my life. And yet, at the same time, what's interesting about these situations is that on the surface, it really did not seem like very much. In the next video, I'm going to give some details of what was going on in my life before this whole situation started. Because in retrospect, in looking at some of these details that had happened previous to this person coming in, they were really important when I examined them in retrospect. And what I'd like you to do for your own life is really examine the whole situation if you've had something like this happen to you. The other thing I'll say is I'm going to go chronologically. So I will mention twin flames and entity attachments chronologically as they enter the story, all right? So I promise you, the devil is in the details with this story, but there's also some things that might seem like, why are you telling me that? I'm telling you every single thing for a reason. I will tell you as it happened to me, and then in subsequent videos, I will go back and explain.